Hi, this is Mason. It's 11 o'clock in the morning in Syracuse, and we're live in the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
Hey, that's me. Sup, Mason? How we doing here? Thursday. We're live. This is the 315. That's how we named the show. Like we didn't really have to grind on it to come up with the name of the show, but we like it. Sometimes simple is good. Oftentimes simple is good. Welcome in here on a Thursday. Yes, Kid Navy. I was on a ton in Devo. We taped it yesterday morning. Yes, we did discuss that, as I did on this show about a week ago, whenever that was. And yeah, that's the reason you haven't seen that, because most people aren't walking around saying it. But my goodness, social media is it goes sideways, and it goes sideways real fast. And sometimes it's good to ignore the idiots, but sometimes you gotta drop down to their depths and slap them around a little bit, just as a reminder. Most of the time with Atan and Devo, we talked basketball. We talked about basketball and all the stuff we'll be talking about here today, and everything that we'll be getting into over the course of the show, which means that we do need to launch immediately into our opening menu presented by our friends at the Thompson Road Tavern. Their catering menu available for sure, as is their lunch menu. Today is Thursday. What are they featuring today on a Thursday? How about this? The weather's starting to turn, as you say, Kev, but I think we're still in a place here where it's starting to turn, but it's not like balmy outside. So could you enjoy an open-faced roast beef sandwich with gravy and some mashed potatoes? Yeah, I think you could. I think the weather today, it's not freezing, but I think the weather today, especially at the lunching hour, it might be a little warmer later. I think the weather today could be very conducive to the open-faced roast beef. Yeah. And then tomorrow, a Lenten Friday, you got the fried haddock sandwich. So, like, I mean, it could be 90 degrees, it could be 2 degrees. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with a fried fish sandwich on a Friday? I had one. It is the time of the year. Like, you just got to get up all in the fish. I had some fish last week. It's fantastic. So yeah, there we go. There you go. That's the actual menu with the food at our friends at the Thompson Road Tavern, which is where? Thompson Road, 690. Thompson Road exit, north. Did I just point north? Hang on. East is over there. North. There. North's that way. East is kind of that way. Gotta get my bearings. I'm glad you enjoyed, Kid Navy. Always great talking hoops with those guys. Like, I realized that was the headline of the whole thing, but realistically, most of the time we spent was talking basketball in the future of the Syracuse program, and a lot of the stuff we do here on a day-to-day basis that we will be doing here today. We got some Who's Next coming up, where, we'll tell you who's next after Ed. I think it's alum week. We're going with guys that are currently coaching their alma maters. Today's guy, I think, is an interesting, like, if he were to be a candidate, I think he's a guy you'd give a look at. I don't think he's realistically in the market of leaving his alma mater, but we'll get to that later on. We'll have a double dose of no wrong answers. We will have a double dose of no wrong answers. Lax Hopkins. Blue Jays. Geese and Ducks. Everybody knows that Hopkins sucks. That comes up on Saturday, Syracuse and Pittsburgh, with Pitt playing a meaningful game in March. They need to win to be able to make the ACC tournament. See? Meaningful games in March. Does this count? We'll do a double dose of no wrong answers later in the show as well. And, of course, the link is pinned top of the chat, and y'all are welcome to join at any time throughout. So there we go. What is Atan's real first name? Isn't that his real first name? Am I like, does he have another one? Of all the names I'm aware of for Atan Thomas, that's the only one I know. T Murphy. Like, I don't know any more names for Atan. I've known the one for, man, we're all old. Atan was a freshman 30 years ago, 29 years ago. Oh, man. No. Yeah, well, yeah, the Blue Jays. It's just the Baltimore area Blue Jays, Big Tuna. It's just the Baltimore area Blue Jays. If you get me a nice New York Blue Jay, Like, we're very friendly. Much like on Tuesday, we celebrated the northern cardinal that visited the Wild Birds Unlimited Backyard Bird Camp, all while booing that dastardly Louisville cardinal. We got no time for a Louisville cardinal. A northern cardinal we like. Could be Big Tuna. I just, I have no idea. That's, now I'm intrigued. This seems like a perfectly good waste of time to start the show. Aton Thomas. Oh, yeah, there we go. His real first name is Dedrick. Dedrick. Dedrick Aton Thomas. Okay, learn something new every day. Born April 1st, 1978. Dedrick Aton Thomas. Yeah, I had no idea. He's a middle name guy. Is that, I don't know why. I don't know if that's like, same name. Is that a junior situation? I don't know why. And I'm probably not going to find out why from his Wikipedia page. But there we go. Okay. So it was a hell of a cardinal, Kev. Like, beautifully, like, bright red. It was a morning with actual sunlight, so the sun was on the cardinal and the whole thing. It was he looked in the camera, like eye contact, cardinal coming through the lens. He was eating the spicy bird seed. Like, it was a hell of a bird. It was a hell of a bird. And you just go outside these days, you hear the birds a chirping, which means spring is coming. So there we are. There we are. You think he was recruited as Dedrick Thomas? Can we find like a rivals listing from 1996? Is that? Man, we can, let's see. Rivals basketball rankings 1996. The first article that comes up is Wallace's 1996 three-pointer. That's, wait, oh, what do we got here? Wait, Seymour, how far? Now, I have no idea where, I don't even know if he would have been a top. Oh, wait, here we go. Here we go. Wow, the internet. This is on some random, we're on a random blog. Random blog. This is a random blog that somebody wrote that is somehow still on the internet. This person wrote this on November 7th, 2003. Some guy on the internet just found a bunch of old Sporting News college yearbooks. Look at the top recruits. How about this? What a list this is. Here are the top. This seems very important right now. The top freshman prospects from 95-96. Number 1, Kevin Garnett. That worked out well. He never went to college. Worked out well. Number 2, Ron Mercer. Hell of a player. Number 3, Stephon Marbury. Okay. Number 4, Robert Tractor Trailer. Man, they ranked it nice back then. Number 5, Sharif Abdur-Rahim. They are killing the rankings back here. Number 6, Vince Carter. This is an unbelievable rank. Like, no busts. No busts. Number 7, Paul Pierce. That's an unbelievable top 7, and it all hit. Number 8, Derek Hood. Not familiar with him. Albert White. We're scrolling. Well, number 16. Number 16 on the list. Not a Syracuse signee, but an Illinois signee. Number 16 on the list that year. 1, Ryan Blackwell. Okay. 1, Ryan Blackwell. Number 18, Chauncey Billups. 19, Antoine Jameson. You can't win them all. You can't win them all. And then Dedrick Aton Thomas, which this guy incorrectly wrote as Derek, was number 42 in the class. Number 42 in the class. So there we go. He was a top 50 recruit. Man, other guys. Oh, man. Winfred Walton. Good old Jermaine O'Neal, Tim Thomas, Kobe. Man, there was a lot going on back then. Steven Jackson. What a time. So yeah, Aton was a top 50 recruit back in the day when he was Dedrick Thomas. And the rest, as they say, is history. I don't know if you've all heard. I don't know if it once ever came up during a Syracuse game in 4 years. I'm just not sure. That Aton Thomas blocked shots with his left hand. I don't know if that ever came up. It may or may not have come up. A time or two. Okay, sidebar concluded for now. I'm sure we'll sidebar on something completely different later on. That's the whole point of this show. We head off in a lot of different directions. Unbelievable year, Kev. And talk about like them drilling the rankings back in 96. Garnett, Mercer, Marbury, Tractor Trailer, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, Vince Carter, Paul Pierce. Killed it. Absolutely killed it with the top 7. That's an unbelievable top 7. Nary a miss. Nary a miss. Okay, so what I wanted to start with today, we haven't talked about in this forum. This happened on Tuesday. Like, the worst kept secret in town is that Syracuse has named a new chancellor, right? And we had all heard this, and Mike Haney, who's worked in various jobs at the university now for 20 some odd years, has been named the new chancellor. We've kind of told you about his history. He's got a military background. He was integral in everything that's gone on at the VA building and everything that's happened there, which is across the street from Newhouse, as a part of campus, and had risen to the job as basically the number 2 guy on campus as the associate chancellor, or vice chancellor. Vice chancellor. That sounds very official. And now he's the chancellor-elect. So that's all great and all, but what do we care about it here in a sporting context? Well, this is all about, so Kent Syverud is the chancellor and is about to not be the chancellor. Kent Syverud's level of caring about if Syracuse is good at sports, yeah. The thing we always used to say back in the day, which perhaps applies less now that, shout out to Clark Lee, Vanderbilt's good at football and stuff. Like, we said this for years, that Kent would be very happy if Syracuse was Vanderbilt. If you win, good. If you don't, good. Everyone go to class. Everyone graduate, represent the school well, and whatever. Not that that's a bad thing to aspire to. Like, being Vanderbilt's not terrible, but from a sporting perspective, if you look back prior to this year, it's just kind of like, great. You're on the back burner at what's going on around campus. So then you hear that somebody that is the number 2 on campus is going to be taking over. So the first immediate thought is this more of the same in regards to sports, and specifically in regards to funding of sports from the main campus side of things? Well, I thought Chris Carlson did a fantastic job, and it's a very long article. He went very in-depth here in a conversation about Mike Haney via a sports lens the other day. And he has quotes in the article from multiple people, but quotes from 2 people in it stand out based on their current positions and current level of influence. One of those people is Mike Haney. And Mike said, where'd it go? It's a very long article. I lost the quote. I scrolled past it. I scrolled past it the other way. Here we are. Mike Haney said as such in Chris Carlson's article on Syracuse.com the other day. An article entitled, "What Does Syracuse's New Chancellor Mean for SU Sports? We Need to Have Top-Tier Athletics." So, they gave it away a little bit in the headline, which we like. Here's the quote. Quote, Mike Haney, Chancellor-elect. "Our economic model is largely driven by student tuition and room and board. If one of the reasons, among many, but one of the reasons that students are enthusiastic about Syracuse University is top-tier athletics, we need to be a university with top-tier athletics." And that was on the heels of a story that Mike told that he apparently was teaching a class at the Whitman School, or doing some kind of lecture or something, where Jim Boeheim was with him or whatever. Mike Haney, Jim Boeheim were in a room. There were 200 students in the room. The question was asked of said students to raise their hands if, Q Sports being good factored at all into their decision to attend the university. And the way Haney tells the story is 90% of the hands in the room went up that it was a factor. So, from my view, it seems like, and I don't know Haney personally, I do know people that have dealt with him, some to slightly more than some, and from everything, like all of the people I've talked to that have dealt with Mike, in various ways, because he said various roles on campus over the last 20 years, have had good experiences. And these are people that I trust, and they're various people, and I trust them to be telling it true in that and not just, trying to polish something up. So, on one hand, you say, okay, well, if things are not going the way we want with the athletic department, do you want somebody that's been part of the same machine to still be in power? And that sets you back a little bit. On the other hand, everything Mike said in regards to sports the other day, and the fact that, hey, we talked about it in postgame when I was alluding to this months ago when this rumor was out there that he was going to be the guy, and I said, oh yeah, well, he was at the game sitting behind like Melo tonight. Mike Haney, like, that's not a one-off. Mike has been at most of the games. He sits in the chairs like behind the scorers table. You know how those extra chairs in front of the blue bunting behind the scorers table, and he's there. So he's a guy that he cares about sports. And when you're the chancellor, are sports the most important part of your job? No, they're not. They're not. Like, you are running a battleship. You're running an aircraft carrier. There are so many things going on when you're chancellor. You need sports in many ways to take care of themselves. But having support from the top to make it okay for that to be an important thing on campus, and to make that financially okay from the top on down for that to be an important thing on campus, and budget lines and getting support from not just athletic fundraising, not just the athletic budget, but if they need it from the university budget, things like that are important. We'll see how it plays out. But if I'm to be the next AD, and Govenda, you toss out the name Nick Carparelli, that is one of the hot rumors right now, that Nick has many, many fans at various parts of Syracuse people. He was a GA on the football team back for Coach P in the early 90s. He was a GA. He did the G part. He's a graduate with a master's from Syracuse. I believe he went to WPI. That's Worcester Polytechnic for his undergrad. And Nick is a guy that, who's next? AD version. Nick is a guy that worked for many years in the Big East office in various roles, oversaw football toward the end. He's worked high up at Under Armour. His current gig is running what is called, now it's got a sponsor, it's called Coca-Cola Bowl Season. And it's not just he's in charge of the season. Bowl season is an actual entity now. It's a group that essentially organizes the non-playoff bowls. So he's been involved. The one thing he hasn't done is been high up in an actual athletic department. That's the current name that's on the tip of tongues. We are hearing that could be announced as soon as like a week from now, all right, which would then line up to what's got to happen after that with the basketball coach. I am just going to assume that better sense has come to people after all this stuff surrounding Heather Lyke here in the last week or two, with the DO article talking about her HR stuff, with everything that's gone on at Pitt with the lawsuits. Their current AD just fired their women's basketball coach that is being sued by former players, and Heather Lyke is part of that lawsuit on the being sued side of things. I would like to think, innocent until proven guilty at all. This ain't that. I'd like to think that's pretty disqualifying from the Syracuse AD job. Also handed out one of the worst contracts in major college basketball when it comes to coaching and Capel. Is that Jeff Capel? I always forget which Capel they have. JF, Asen Capel. They got Jay Capel as the head coach. 8 years in, won tournament, and now is playing for his life to make the conference tournament in the Dome on Saturday. So things are starting to line up a little bit here. The other person quoted in this article is from Chris Carlson. Yes, the only bad thing is, yes, Nick did work for the Patriots at one point. So yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that at all. Though as a Giants fan, I'm cool with the Patriots because the Giants are 2-0 against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Here's a quote from John Lally. So Lally, as we know, large font, names on buildings, large donor, big checks, 25+ million to the university and the athletic department in recent years. And he is part of the search committee for the new athletic director, one of 7 on the search committee. So big time booster, lots of money, part like contingent to how he gave his money. Like the way he arranged giving the money to build the Lally facility now, which has its name on it. He pledged $25 million, and I forget the exact numbers, but he gave them, here's X million. I will release the rest of the money as the other necessary funds are raised to do the whole project, because it cost whatever it cost, 100 some odd million or something to do everything they were doing. So he wasn't just like, here's 25 million, figure it out. No, he was, I'm going to give you the money, and we're going to work together to make sure other people give us the money. Anyway, quote from John Lally about the chancellor. Imagine, new job, what's coming down the pipe within the next week. So, talking about Red, talking about the athletic director stuff. And then what's coming down the pike again with another week or two after that. Red. Those choices and the ramification of those choices are not easy. But Haney knows the school, he knows the process, and he knows the people. So that is support from your current biggest athletics donor for the chancellor that is new here. And what I've talked about this whole time, and we await for the AD hire coming up. I don't think she was the one that actually hired Stallings. Was she, Tuna? I don't think she hired Stallings. I think he was there. I could be wrong. If she did both of those, then all of it was dumb. She did not do a good job at Pittsburgh, is what it all comes down to. I think she started the year after Stallings got hired. Either way, Heather did not do a good job at Pittsburgh. Yeah, she did. That's why they fired her from the job. And then you get all this extraneous stuff, and it's like, yeah, I wouldn't touch that with a 15-foot pole. Screw a 10-foot pole. But when I look at this, and I look at all of this, and I see quotes from your big donor, Jim Bay, regardless of what you think about Jim Boeheim spotting this all, he spoke well of Haney also. Haney spoke positively about the idea of sports' importance to a successful university at this level. When you think of everything that's coming up in the next month, like new chancellor, new AD, new basketball coach, I said this the other day. In fact, I was telling my class this last night. We were going through like, hey, how do you build a story? Where are things coming from? This month here, in both Mike Haney's career and the future of the athletic department, this next month is going to be circled back to in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, because so many things, the future of the athletic department, the future of the university, the future of the basketball program, are all, and their success or not, are all going to come out of this month. Like, everything's coming out of this month. So, say they hire Brian Hodgson, or Jerry, or Hop, or whatever. In 3 years, in 5 years, the basketball team is going to be doing good, bad, or whatever. And then we're going to loop back to this month and say, okay, that goes back to the decision made then. In 3, 5, 10 years, whatever, the athletic department's going to be in this state. We're going to look back to this month because the guy in charge of the athletic department will have been hired in this month. Whenever Mike Haney's career comes to an end, recent chancellor terms around here have been 10-ish years or so, 10 to 12 years. That's how long Nancy Cantor was in charge. That's how long Syverud was in charge. Buzz Shaw before that was, about 15 years. So whenever Mike Haney retires from this gig, assuming that he gets to work until he retires, whatever he does, especially on the athletic side of things, like the epitaph of his career will loop back to this, because the first major thing that is going to happen under him being the chancellor, even though he's technically not the chancellor yet, like the first major thing is going to be all the changes in the athletic department. So at the tail end of his career, like good or bad, it's going to loop back on Mike what happened in the next month. This is the most important month in a really long time, if not ever, for the Syracuse Athletic Department, of things you need to get right, especially when you look at everything that's coming down the pike. Who knows when the next layer or level of conference realignment or conference implosion or whatever is happening. Like, realistically, the people that get these jobs now are probably going to be the people that have to guide Syracuse through whatever is coming. The basketball program needs to get back on track. Whoever the next coach is, it's imperative that they win games. It's imperative that they win games and all of those things. Didn't Buzzshaw say SU fans need to get a life? I think that sounds familiar, T. Murphy. Buzz said a lot of stuff back in the day. But my commencement was Buzz's last. That was like his last act as chancellor, was sending us off into the world. Did I ask a ton his thoughts? No, it was his show. I think they asked me my thoughts on it, and I told them much of what I told you just now. So I think that's where we're at. If it's Carparelli, like I've met Nick. Nick's a good guy. He's got a lot of great experience in various realms of the sporting world. The one thing I worry is that he is lacking. He's not been an AD, and he's not worked within an athletic department. Like, he's worked around it. He's seen all this stuff. But if you're going to be a first-time AD, like right now, then you better bring with you some serious people that have some serious athletic department, modern, forward-facing administrative jobs. Like, the main guy they leaned on for everything in the athletic department for years was Herm Fraser. He just retired. Like, you're going to need to bring some people with you that can help guide you on the path while you get your sea legs, because there's no time. Like, you're going to be on the job hiring basketball coaches, doing this, doing that. Like, it's going to go very, very quickly for whomever is hired in that. And yeah, Big Tuna, that's where you think about that. Like, all right, who's really in charge? Like, your biggest donors on the group that's going to help decide who the AD is. So there is that. Well, I'm saying you have to bring something if you want to do the job successfully, Big Tuna. This is not about getting the job. This is about succeeding at the job. This is about succeeding at the job. So, and the hope is, right, for all of us that they succeed. Oh, Herm did plenty, Big Tuna. Like, if they like a lot of behind the scenes stuff from Herm, good or bad, like a lot of rando projects that Herm had to deal with from administrative perspectives, all while being quick and nimble because he's a gold medalist and all that stuff. But you need, like, just to make the trains run on time, right? Like, you need some people to do that. I suppose we'll find out, T-Takes. Like, if it's like, there's truth to that the Lowleys donate to USF because they live down in the area and they have a relationship with Hodgson because of it. Yeah, Kid Navy, I think that is significant. Like, Mike Haney, from everything I've heard, is the current Maine University liaison with Micron. And, okay, can the chancellor nudge Micron to do something to help out not just the university, but the athletic department? I don't know, but, like, he's the guy with the relationship. That's been his port of call here. That's been one of his main tasks here of late. So, like, things like that have nothing to do with a math class or a science class or what Newhouse is up to, or many of the things the chancellors have to deal with, as far as how it might apply to Syracuse sports and the basketball team being good, I think this is why I look at Haney and say, okay, I can see the areas of experience he has and the things he's said potentially can align with everything that needs to happen for it to be successful. Yeah, Big Tuna, like, to what you are saying, though, like, that's true. Mark Coyle was and is a skilled collegiate administrator. Like, there's a reason Minnesota wanted him. And I like Mark. Like, we got along well. I enjoyed my conversations with Mark. I enjoyed watching him operate. Like, Mark was a sit in the 5th or 6th row of the bus to the airport guy on football trips. Like, intentionally so. Like, I don't need a reserve seat. I'm just here. He was in a very observational mode. And I think had Mark stayed, that he would have shepherded the athletic department in a different direction that it's been in here recently, and I think it would have worked well. But to your point, Big Tuna, like Mark got here, saw the room, saw what it was like dealing with, main campus and fighting for funding and all this stuff and budgets and all that. And it's kind of weird. Maybe he didn't know that before taking the job, but he read the room and he got the hell out of Dodge, and he was in and out in 9 months. So, and I've said this, what I would like for the next AD is give me somebody like Mark, who sees the field like Mark, but that is committed to being part of the future of Syracuse. Like, Mark was here for 9 months, and he was here just long enough to tantalize, and he was out just fast enough that none of the stuff he tantalized with really stuck, because none of the big changes that I think were coming ever got made. He was waiting that year till, like, the fiscal year ended, end of June, and then, like, he was going to take action on a lot of things, except he was gone for a month and a half by then. And we will never know what it's going to be. Like, had Mark Coyle stayed, like, we would have gotten the answer to what Mike Hopkins as Syracuse basketball head coach looks like. It's like when Mark left is when Jim Boeheim was able to reassert himself at the top of the power structure. Like, that's the thing. Yeah, like, had he stayed, having watched him operate and everything he's done at Minnesota, and the fact that he's done all these NCAA committees, and you always see him sitting courtside at NCAA tournament games, I think it would have worked well. But we'll never know. We'll never know. So, I don't know. It's also a very different era. That was 10 years ago. It's a very different era now. And then NIL and all this stuff that's happened since then. Talk about needing to have, like, you talk about Nick Carparelli, like, if he's to be the guy, he has a business background of late with his time at Under Armour, which is, and obviously a player in the college game with stuff, with his time with his bowl season thing, with his time in a conference at the Big East, back when the Big East was the Big East. Like, that's an intriguing way to approach it too in this modern era. That's the way to approach it. So it's all interesting. Yeah, could this affect Fran? Yeah, I think that'll be interesting, T-Tix, because yes, the AD does want to imprint themselves on the department. I think that's why the next couple weeks are important here, right? Because if it goes in the order it might, which is Chancellor's hired, then AD is hired, then the basketball coach is hired, right? Then, regardless of how it actually went down, the new AD will be directly tied to the new basketball hire. So you will have had your name as an influential name with that hire. If it goes the other way, like if for some reason the AD hire drags on and the basketball coach is hired before then, or if the AD is dissatisfied with their, like if they weren't really involved and the stuff has happened behind the scenes or something, you could potentially see that. I'll say this, like, obviously Fran's 2 years have been diametrically opposed, right? The first year was as good as possible. Last year was as bad as it could have been. If for whatever reason last year duplicates itself again in the fall, like, I think it would have to be that bad again to even begin thinking about it. Like, I think it would have to be that bad again to begin thinking about that. But, like, we're 2 years into Fran. Like, what do we know? What do we think? I don't know. I don't know. Like, he's 13 and 12 in 2 years, which, if you take it on the face, is like, all right, about 500, new guy, okay. But when you look at how we got to 13 and 12, it's like, whoa, it's mind melting. It's mind melting. T-Takes, everything we're hearing right now is yes. I would guess that we will hear that. What's today? The 5th. I bet we hear it by the end of next week. We'll see, or at latest the beginning of the week after. So yeah, I don't know. So there we are. It's a lot of big picture stuff. It's a lot of wide ranging thoughts, and we've been talking about all this stuff like vaguely and getting a little more into it here for the last, few months. Well, it's here. It's March 5th today, and the stuff is happening. The stuff is happening. Like new chancellor last week, realistically, by 1 week from today, Red will no longer be employed, but, depending on when they lose in the ACC tournament, I could see that happening as soon as next Tuesday night, and then, maybe as late as next Thursday morning, unless they somehow win a couple games down there, which I don't trust this team as far as I can throw them with winning a couple games right now. And then, it'll all be in motion. We'll be into that. The who's next will become real. A new AD will become real. And as soon as all of that happens, the tournament happens. The tournament will end. The portal will be open. And then, a few weeks after that, we'll have a good sense of what the basketball roster looks like for next year. So from now until 6-ish weeks from now, until 6-ish weeks from now, it is a vital, vital, vital time in the future of the Syracuse basketball program. For sure. For sure. With that, we do need to continue pondering who might be the next head coach. And the guy we're going to talk about today, I'm going to say this before we start. I'm reasonably certain he won't be the next head coach. But at the same time, I'm kind of intrigued at what he's all about. So here we go. Our 11th installment of Who's Next.
Mason here. It's time to continue our search for the next Syracuse basketball head coach. With today's candidate, here's Brian.
Oh yeah, Mason, we're grooving. We're grooving. Will the new AD and Wild Hack overlap on the job? That's an interesting question, Nick. I don't know. If they announce the new AD, whether they've officially started or not. Whether they officially overlap or not, I don't know, but I'm sure they will overlap in practice, if not in reality. Realistically, you're not going to say somebody has the job and then them have nothing to do with what's going on. But it'll be fascinating to go. I've never discussed AD to such a groove before. Yeah, Mason, he sidebars in jazz clubs. That's what I've heard, Tronic. You can catch him. You can catch him in the jazz clubs. Where's Mason's voice from? Oh, he's real. He's right over there. Either that or AI. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. All right, who's next today? It's Alumni Week. Yes, it is Alumni Week. And what do we mean by Alumni Week? We don't mean Jerry. We don't mean Hop. That's not what we mean. We don't mean Red. That's not what we're saying on Alumni Week. When we're talking about Alumni Week, we are talking about... Where did my Who's Next paperwork go? Oh my goodness, it's all gone horribly wrong. Who's Next has gone horribly wrong. My papers are shuffled around, and it's a mess. I know who's next, but it's Alumni Week. We talked about George Mason earlier this week is what we did when we look at coaches that are currently coaching their alma mater and seeing, okay, what's the deal? Might they move beyond their alma mater, or are they tied to their school? So on Monday, we talked about Tony Skinn, one of the stars of the 06 George Mason Final Four team, and now a young-ish head coach kind of on the rise where you could see him making a move up levels in the coming years. Today, we're going to talk about a guy that is doing great things currently at his alma mater, but seems to be on the back nine of things right now, but is doing a fantastic job, and he's doing a fantastic job in Dayton, Ohio, because today's Who's Next is the head coach of the Dayton Flyers. That is Anthony Grant. That is Anthony Grant. And as we know, Syracuse and Dayton, they have an NCAA tournament rivalry, one win each from a decade plus ago, in which Anthony Grant had absolutely nothing to do with that because Sean Miller was the head coach of Dayton at the time. But Anthony Grant is a guy here that has done really, really good work in recent years. Back when he had Obi Toppin, they were going to be a 1 seed in the COVID-canceled 2020 NCAA tournament. They were like 28-2 or something that year. They were absolutely killing it, and he's had plenty of other 20-win seasons behind that. So today we're going to explore the life and times of one Anthony Grant, who will just start this segment by saying this. He will not be the next Syracuse head coach, but he's still a guy that I find intriguing because of where his career path has wound. He's a guy, if you want somebody with experience, he's a guy that's had an interesting career arc and then a bounce back. He started at a mid-major. He was at VCU. He followed Shaka Smart at VCU. Or no, did he predate Shaka Smart at VCU? Hang on. I think he predated Shaka Smart at VCU. Do I have this backwards? This is, suddenly very important. VCU basketball history. Yeah, did he predate Shaka? Oh, yeah, he was right before Shaka. So what he did was he kind of set the table for Shaka Smart at VCU. Obviously, Shaka had that great one. Well, Anthony Grant was the coach for 3 years before Shaka Smart, 07, 08, 09, in which he won at minimum 24 games. He made the tournament twice and won a game the first time he was in the tournament. Go figure, the coach Anthony Grant followed there was Jeff Capel. It all loops back to what's going to go down with Pittsburgh in town on Saturday. So Grant was an excellent mid-major coach in his first job out the chute. What happened then? He got a major conference job. In 2009, Anthony Grant took the head coaching job at Alabama. Took over an Alabama team that hadn't done much recently, winning season the first year. Then he won 20-plus games 3 years in a row. He was NIT runner-up, made the tournament, NIT again, but then it kind of fell, a 13-win season, then another NIT season, and he's fired after 6 years at Alabama, where he was okay. He was okay. Then he went after looks like a year or two out of head coaching. He took a pit stop with the Oklahoma City Thunder as an assistant. He must have been working for. Was he working for Billy Donovan at the time? I'm not. But he was there 15 for 7. He was there like right at the end of Durant, and then the Westbrook MVP year, if my math is mathing out correctly. Then he gets back into the head coaching game, and he's been Dayton's head coach for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, where in 9 years he has 6 20-plus win seasons. If they win another game this year, it will be 7. He has just one NCAA tournament appearance, but remember they're at Dayton. He has 4 other postseason appearances in the NIT, and they were sitting 29-2. They were undefeated 18-0 in conference in the Atlantic 10 when the season was canceled by COVID, when he had that great team led by Obi Toppin back now 6 years ago. So he's a guy that I think you'd ponder, right? He's 59, so he's not young, but he's not like over the hill. He's not over the hill. But then I read something like this on ESPN that is, hang on, where did he go on ESPN? That they say this currently about him. Dayton's Anthony Grant. He's a hot name. People like the name. Like, I think schools are intrigued by the idea of bringing Grant back to the top level, but he's also he's mulling retirement. He's got a full mull going on. He's actively mulling retirement. But he's also currently coaching the USA Basketball men's U18 team, which is like the opposite of mulling retirement. So I don't know where he is in the mull. He's somewhere in the mull. But so realistically, he's not in the mix, but he's a guy that you could look at, and looking at this type of guy, right? And there are other guys out there that kind of fit this this level, right? Where successful mid-major coach, made the jump to the big time. It didn't quite work. He wasn't terrible at Alabama, but it didn't quite work. Had to drop back down to the mid-major, successful again, and now maybe you're ready for another shot. Like, there are multiple coaches out there like this. It's kind of the opposite, right? Of Red's career trajectory, where he just got tossed right into the big time. He got tossed right into the big time, and obviously it didn't work. Here's a guy that worked his way up, got to the big time, fell back down, and now he's worked his way back up again. I kind of look at, both of the Miller brothers have done this. We talk about Archie and Sean Miller over the years have done that. You wonder, is there a guy like, and again, I don't think this is the way you go, but a guy like a Bobby Hurley, like how many guys are out there that, okay, they've gotten a taste of the big time. It worked, but not quite, but they still have the ability in it to be successful. And I think a guy like Anthony Grant, he'll be the face for us of this category. The guys that, had a chance, it didn't quite work, but then they worked their way back up. It would be like Hop if Hop, after Washington, had gone to a mid-major and then worked his way back up. So that's that I find interesting. I think realistically, we could go the younger guy and be okay. Like, I like the idea of a younger guy that if it works here, like if it is to be a guy like Hodgson, he's 38 years old, like potentially he wants to be here. If he does well, he could be here a long time. Like, I like the idea of that. But given the current state of everything, having somebody that is 100% ready, that just knows what they're doing to hit the ground running and all that, just feels absolutely vital when we're talking about who's next right now. So today's Who's Next is a guy that won't be next, but the idea of what he is intrigues me. Anthony Grant at Dayton, who's had excellent success at the mid-major level, and now is kind of pondering the idea if he wants to stay there at his alma mater. That's the other thing. Does he want to leave the place that he's been where he's, comfortable, or does he want to try to elevate back to the big time? So today, Who's Next? One, Anthony Grant. Anthony Grant. Oh, Q Sports Knower, I misconstrued absolutely nothing. You said one thing. You said one thing, and you deserved that, because you said the thing that you apologized. I will credit you for apologizing, but no, you said the thing, and you said it. You said it. Yeah, like Hodgson intrigues me. What Hodgson hasn't been is a head coach at the top level, right? So like, is he the next great thing, or did he catch lightning in a bottle? So that's the thing. And if you're Syracuse, how risky do you want? Like, is Hodgson risky? Is he not? I don't know. Like, you got to figure out how risky you want to be with a hire like this, and because this hire has to work. It has to work. Like, they have to get this hire right with timing, with the state of the college basketball world, with the state of the college athletics world. Like, it has to work, and it's really, really. It's really important. Nate Oates will say he's the next great coach. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously he came up under. Like, I like a lot of things about Brian Hodgson, right? I like the. I like the. Yeah, Dayton's well set up in that league. Trying to Hop would be a very risky hire right now, Big Tuna. Like, there's a reason the first four every year is hosted in Dayton. They're in an area that cares about basketball, right? Like, there's a reason Dayton gets those games every year. Like, and that spills over into the basketball team, and it helps. It helps. Who wanted the over shoulder shots? I could probably build some stuff like that. It actually wouldn't necessarily be that hard to do it, but I don't know. I just put something there, or there. I just point at the same set. There. Gonna make a box. We could do that. Yeah, maybe. Who asked for that? Wheeze? Yeah, maybe we could do that. Like, it's we have the technology. We have the technology, Wheeze, to do that. I look at a guy that almost fits, a guy we talked about last week that kind of fits the Anthony Grant category is Richard Pitino, where DJ Moore to the Bills? Interesting. Richard Pitino, where, success mid-major, went to the top level, didn't really work out at Minnesota, went back down to mid-major, and had success, and now he's working his way back up. Like, that's the kind of thing. Do you trust that a guy that got there and it didn't work is back down there? Do you trust that he learned enough that on his next trip to the top it'll work? Or do you trust the idea that we are going to get it nails right on the next big thing? Be it a Shirts, be it a Hodgson, be it whatever. Because, like, when you get it wrong on that, it usually goes, like, way wrong. Now, and that's not to say Hodgson or Shirts or whatever go way wrong, but, like, it's really important. It's really, really, really important to get that right. So there we are. Little who's next. Yeah, everything is different now, too. Everything is different now. So we've who's nexted, and now we must look forward to the weekend that is upcoming.
Hi, Mason again. It's time to find out exactly what's going to happen in the next Syracuse game. This is no wrong answers. Here's Brian.
Thank you, Mason. Busy guy, that Mason. Busy fellow, that Mason. All right, no wrong answers. We got a double dose of the no wrong answers coming up on Saturday. Syracuse and Johns Hopkins. Don't call me Johnny Hopkins. We'll head to Homewood Field in Balmer on a Saturday. That is a 1 o'clock face-off on Saturday, a game that you can watch on ESPN+. Or if you only want to watch it on your TV, it will be tape-delayed airing on ESPNU on Sunday at 2 o'clock. So ESPN+, Saturday at 1 o'clock, will get you Cuse and Hopkins. Syracuse, this is a little dramatic, but this is how we do it. Syracuse saved their season with the come-from-behind win against Penn on Saturday. You can't save your season on March 1st, but things were, you went number one, and then were prepared to lose 3 in a row. Now you at least got one. Now you're going to Homewood to play one of your oldest rivals on Saturday. Hopkins at the moment is 4-1, but I'm struggling to know how good they are right now, because they were to play Georgetown in their second game of the season. They blew out Robert Morris to start the season. Then they were going to play a good Georgetown team. That game got postponed due to weather. They beat Towson and Loyola, so they beat both of their Baltimore rivals. Then they got shellacked by North Carolina, who we know is really good. And then this past weekend, in what for many, many years was one of the bigger games this time of year, but this year not as much, they beat Virginia by 1 on the road. Always good to go to Clockner and win, but shocking to say, Virginia I don't think is very good this year. So Hopkins is 4-1. I don't know if they're great. Syracuse here, did they right the ship late third quarter on Sunday against Penn? Because things were, if they had lost that game, they're down 8-4 mid-late third quarter Sunday at Penn. You lost a close game, a game you outplayed in, but you screwed up enough that you lose the game to Harvard. It's like, okay. Like, you would have preferred to win it, but it's like, okay, I see what happened. Then you get absolutely demolished by Princeton, which is like, okay, I know they're good, but now you're 2 games into a 6-game roadie and you've lost both. Now you're down 8-4. That was, if anything, a gut check moment. You come back, you win the game in overtime, you get the goal from Michael Leo to win it, you get the big face-off win from Johnny Mullen, and not Johnny Hopkins, in overtime to give you possession to win the game, and you steady the ship, right? Now you're 4-2, and the ship at minimum is steady after all of that. So I don't want to say, like, Hopkins is a must-win, but at the same time, what's coming up next? You got to fly out to Colorado to play Air Force in Denver. I don't care if you're better than both those teams. Those trips are hard. Those trips are hard on the body and the altitude and the travel, and it'll be games 5 and 6 away from the Dome in a row. I would not want to go out there having just lost yet another game to Hopkins. This series, this is very much a throw out the record series. With that, let's look up the record. Syracuse, Johns, Hopkins series. Like they've played so many games over the years. Where's the year by year situation? Give me a year by year. So Syracuse has won the last 2. Hopkins won 2 before it. Syracuse won 2 before that. Hopkins won. Syracuse won. Hopkins 2. Syracuse 3. It's back and forth over the years. You look at these scores: 3-goal game, 1-goal game, 2-goal game, 3-goal game. Like, it's close games. Overtime. Like, it's close games, almost regardless of who is ranked where and the whole thing. And I would expect nothing besides that coming up on Saturday. So let's get into it. No wrong answers. 1 o'clock face-off down in Baltimore. Cuse and Hopkins Saturday. Okay, Syracuse. No wrong answers. Start the game faster. My goodness, the first quarters of late have been bad. Okay, no wrong answers. Syracuse will have a better first quarter Saturday. Will it be electric? No. The Orange will score 3 goals in the first quarter against Johns Hopkins. Not 0. Bounce back game for Joey Spallina, who did not have a great weekend in Ivy League country last week. I think Joey goes 3-2 in this game. Finn Thompson's come to life a little bit of late. We like that. How about 1-4 for the Finner on Saturday for the Cuse? Wyatt Hoddle's kind of been disappearing. How about now that, he's in the scouting report? Not 2 goals for this game, but Wyatt Hoddle will get back on the score sheet with a goal. Last game was a Michael Leo game. How about a Luke Roa game? Hat-trick for Roa as he hit some bombs from the outside down at Homewood in Baltimore. John Mullen has been struggling. John Mullen, though, found a little something late against Penn. He won big face-offs late. I think John Mullen starts to get his groove back in this game. John will win 58% of the face-offs against Johns Hopkins. Johnny Mullen beating Johnny Hopkins on Saturday. I really like Jimmy McCool this year. I think he's played very well. I think Jimmy will have a nice day at Hopkins Saturday. He'll stop 61% of the shots on Saturday against Johns Hopkins. So no wrong answers. The Orange and the Blue Jays down in Baltimore. Final score from historic Homewood Field: 13-12, another 1-goal classic between the Orange and the Jays. Final score 13-12. The Orange go down to Baltimore and win it. Now, no wrong answers in the Dome in this. Yeah, this game between the Orange and Pitt is just an exhale. Pitt right now is tied with Notre Dame for the 15th and final spot in the conference tournament. Syracuse is tied with Wake at 6-11. The Orange are in the conference tournament. Pitt is currently tied with Notre Dame for that last spot. So there will be stuff on the line in the Dome on Saturday. All right, Notre Dame. Let me see. What did Notre Dame and Pitt do? At least I think there will be stuff on the line. Where's the Notre Dame Pitt final score on this year? Oh, yeah, there will be stuff on the line. So Notre Dame and Pitt played a few weeks back, and Pitt won. So Pitt has the tiebreaker over Notre Dame. So if they win the game on Saturday, Pitt beat Syracuse, they will make the ACC tournament. Notre Dame plays Boston College at noon on Saturday. I'm aware that Syracuse lost to Boston College, but Boston College is terrible. They have already missed the conference. They're 3-14. They're not going to be making the ACC tournament. So this appears to be the scenario. If Notre Dame loses to Boston College, then Pitt and then they'll all be tied. Then it becomes a mess. Here's the gist of it, best I can tell. If Pitt wins on Saturday, they make the ACC tournament. Meaningful game in March for the Pitt Panthers. It is, obviously we don't know this officially, it's going to be Adrian Autry's last game coaching in the Dome, like senior day for J.J. Starling. Like, that's a thing that's happening on Saturday. I guess like a William Kyle and a Nate Kings will be honored for stuff as well. But yeah, it's JJ's last. Hard to figure JJ's been here 3 years. What an odd 3 years it has been, as his tenure obviously lines up directly with that of Red as the head coach. So no wrong answers, Syracuse and Pittsburgh on Saturday. The Orange have already beaten Pitt once this season in a game that happened many moons ago. When was that? That was the first game of January. The Orange went to the Peterson Event Center and won. Or was that the first game of January? It was early January. The Orange went there and won 83-72. They won back in early January. It was January 10th. It was not the first game of January, but it was early enough. And that was a time where, like, at the time, I don't want to say it was a big win, but it was a necessary win for the Orange. At the time, they were 2-1 in the league at the time. That seems like many moons ago that Syracuse was able to go to Pittsburgh and have success like that. Like Donnie Freeman had a big day that day, dropping 22 points. William Kyle had a nice day. J.J. Starling had a nice day with 19 points. Brandon Cummings, remember he came. Nelly Cummings' brother came off the bench and hit all those threes for Pitt. He had 29 points in the game. So no wrong answers. Syracuse and Pittsburgh, second of two this season with everything on the line for the Pitt Panthers. Let's start with Donnie Freeman. I mean, in theory, there's still nobody on Pitt that can stop him. There's no good reason why he shouldn't have a day again. I say 21 points, but just 4 rebounds for Freeman, who goes lacking on the glass in what could be his final game in the Dome on Saturday. The senior J.J. Starling, he's going to get him up in this game, right? Like, J.J.'s going to take some shots. J.J., here, no wrong answers. 15 shots for J.J. Starling. How about 17 points in the game in his final Dome game for JJ. Nate Kings, we like Nate Kings. I think we say that every week in No Wrong Answers that we like Nate Kings. 13 points for Nate in the game. Nate George is just a mysterious case, right? Where if you look at his season stats and then you also plug in how we all feel about it, they don't necessarily equal each other. So Nate George, 11 points, 5 assists, and 5 turnovers in the game coming up on the weekend. Cayenne, does he still work here? 2 points for Cayenne Anthony. We'll see how Sadiq's doing with the shoulder. I like what Sadiq's been about recently. 6 points, 5 rebounds for Sadiq White in the game. And William Kyle had 4 steals and 0 blocks the last time against Pittsburgh. He'll reverse it. No steals, but 4 blocks and 3 dunks for William Kyle in the game. So let's toss it all in the pot. Syracuse beat Pitt by 11 back now 2 months ago. Now we arrive at the end of a season that has not gone the way either of these teams would have hoped, with the Orange definitely going to the ACC tournament, playing Tuesday in Charlotte, and Pittsburgh with a win, hoping to go to the ACC tournament. Or maybe not. I don't know what they're hoping at this point. Okay. No wrong answers. Syracuse and Pittsburgh in the Dome. Reds' final Dome game. Saturday. Final score. Deep breath. 84-79. No wrong answers. Adrian Autry wins his final Dome game. Then the Orange lose on Tuesday, and they finish the season at 16-16. No wrong answers. Syracuse wins it. Whew. Predicting Syracuse to win a game at this point, I feel squirmy on the inside. So there we are, little no wrong answers for Syracuse and Pittsburgh coming up on Saturday. And no wrong answers. That's going to bring us to the end of the old program here today. Thanks for hanging out, y'all, here on this Thursday. Upcoming schedule will be post-game on Saturday after the basketball game, around about 6:30. That's a 4:30 tip, so we'll be here for that coming up on Saturday. And we'll probably talk some lax as well, because face-off is at 1 o'clock. So you know the drill. Get right back here to YouTube on Saturday. We'll hang out on Twitter during the game, and we'll do it up real nice here. Post-game, we'll have Reds last JMA Wireless Dome press conference coming after the game on Saturday, and we'll see how it all goes. Yeah, it could be just a bizarrely terrible game on Saturday with absolutely no defense play. All right, everybody, have a great day. We'll see you on the social medias. We'll see you right here on YouTube coming up on Saturday evening.
Thanks for watching the 315 with Brian Higgins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. We'll see you next time.